Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And welcome to our spoiler review for The Mandalorian Season 2. We're talking about Episode 1, The Marshal. It's also called Chapter 9, according when we were watching the show. So before we kind of jump into the nitty-gritty, this is, as the title suggests, a spoiler review.
Spoilers.
So if you haven't watched the episode yet, I would not watch our review because we will be talking about, surprise, spoilers aplenty. So go ahead and add this video to your watch later list, bookmark it, whatever you got to do. Come back after you've seen the episode so you don't have to listen to us talk about spoilers. Unless you don't care, then if that's you, then by all means, stay tuned. And with that said, you have been warned, and here we go. This is probably one of the most highly anticipated show to come back in the fall, I would say.
Yes, I mean, this has been talked about for so long. We've been dying to see this. We got our own little baby Yoda. This is not the only baby Yoda that we have. We actually have, some Funkos. So the Mandalorian has made a pretty big impact, not only on our fandom, but also on our wallets.
Oh wait, his hand was like backwards. All right. So yeah, there's plenty more of the Mandalorian merch that's going to be added to our household. I'm sure most of them are probably going to be this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, let's jump into this because anticipation was high. Season 1 was really, really good. I really enjoyed all the episodes. Some I liked more than others, obviously. And I was hoping that with season 2, it wouldn't just turn into like a marketing kind of a deal, like a big toys advertisement for the child.
Yeah,
because
true.
he is so adorable. But I didn't want him to pop on screen just to pop on screen. Like I wanted to kind of serve something, of course, to have something that the audience can go about, which is typically me. But I worry about that. It would become more of like, look what merchandise we could possibly come up with versus let's tell a really good Star Wars story.
Yeah. Now that doesn't mean that there weren't parts that all that the one shot was to show how cute Baby Yoda is.
Oh.
One where he reaches over and turns off,
the hover pram.
Close the hover crib. The one where he's on the speeder bike going through the desert and you just see his little ears flapping back in the wind.
My favorite part.
Mm-hmm. When he reaches down and touches the ground. I thought that was super cute.
So I was like, feel the force, use the force, you do the magic hand thing. So we can continue to gush about the child, aka Baby Yoda, but I know we want to actually get into spoilers. So I was wondering in what ways that we're going to like kind of take this episode. We know that the Mandalorian has taken upon the quest to return the child to its own kind. The Armorer kind of in the previous season alluded to a sorcerer. What is a group of sorcerer or sorcerer user?
Yeah,
something like that, called basically talking about the Jedi, where Mando's kind of like what?
You want me to go out and look for these guys?
Yeah.
Some guys have been dead for a really long time, and I love the journey. First, but though, out of everything, he's looking for other Mandalorians.
Yes, he's
that might be able to connect him with maybe like an underground network or some other. He has some more contacts that Mando does not have. So he starts hearing of this Mandalorian that's on Tatooine.
Yes.
And
immediately, Boba Fett, where?
That's the first Mandalorian that you think of that we last saw on Tatooine. So he goes off to this little town. We get to see some old guests that were, what is it called, from the landing, the repair shop.
Oh, yes. We get to see her once again. She was one of my favorite. Like, I know she's not a main character, I guess a favorite side character, but she's just so sassy and she's just so matter of fact and like zero filter. I just really, really love her, and you can't tell if she's joking or not. Like, she's just that. Oh my God.
Well, she even had that part to where, like, how much for the kid? Oh, I'm just joking, but not really. But oh, I'm just joking.
It's like, wait, but are you? But she's so earnest. I don't know. I love her delivery. Like, every single line, the way she delivers. So he goes to Tatooine, and obviously there's been tons of news of who and what character and what actor is going to appear and make a cameo in season 2. So we had heard about Temuera Morrison being rumored to be a part of the show, and so talking about finding another Mandalorian on Tatooine, both of our brains immediately went to Boba Fett, which was also rumored to appear. So before we kind of get into that, I loved how this episode started with Mandalorian taking the child into the fight club, a freaking child. But it's funny because he even said, he's like, the child's seeing worse.
Yeah.
I mean, he says that later on, I think, but it's true. I feel like Baby Yoda's been through a lot, so that even when when he activated the whistling bird, he was kind of like, no, I'm gonna close up this thing, and nope, thank you,
I'm out of here.
But I do love that scene. It just kind of just a gentle reminder of when you come face to face with the Mandalorian and you think you've got your ground covered, you probably don't, as we saw with the mob boss, and whose name was Gore Koresh. I have to write it down just in case I say it wrong. So, love that, because he definitely had his croonies. He thought they were ready. He's kind of like, hey, I just want your Beskar. Like, that's what I want.
Yeah,
it's
he just
rare,
wants his armor.
And I want it, and I'll let you walk free, which we know when it comes to the mobs, you don't want to believe them. And Mando obviously knew that, because he was kind of like, yeah, okay. Kills everybody basically instantaneously. And the classic mob boss, after his croonies have all died, there's no one to protect him, was like, I'm gonna run away.
And runs out. Of course Mando shoots out his little grappling hook, wraps him up, and says, tell me the information I want to know, and you will not die by my hands. And of course all of those little red-eyed monsters after he left are like,
so good. And that's how the episode started. Sets the tone, kind of a gentle reminder of basically the Mandalorian is a badass. Don't mess with him, and don't get in the way of him, and reuniting his quest of finding more Mandalorians and reuniting the child with his kind. So we move to Tatooine, where it's just kind of that nice nostalgia, and not that we don't know that this is the Star Wars universe, but I feel like as we're the kind of fans that they're like, Tatooine! They said Tatooine! They throw fan service at us, and we eat it up.
Yeah, even though we'd already been on Tatooine in The Mandalorian, it was still fun to be like, yeah, going back to Tatooine. And the fact that they're pretty much going everywhere but Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
I love the fact that she mentioned it, and she's like, we're over there.
But we're going to go here.
We're going to go somewhere completely different.
Yes. And we meet the marshal of the town, Cobb Vanth.
Mm-hmm.
Who we know have appeared in the Aftermath books, which is pretty cool. Played by the one and only Timothy Olyphant.
Oh, he does an amazing job.
Wow.
He does a very good kind of Western marshal.
Yes.
Kind of character in this, and I love it. And I love the fact that, Mando just comes walking in to the bar, and he's like, I'm looking for a Mandalorian. He's like, I don't know what that is. Someone who looks like me. You mean like a marshal?
And we're all thinking, who? And of course, the door swings open. And before we get into talking about this big reveal, let's talk about how heavily Western, we already know this, but how heavily Western inspired this was.
Yes.
With the bit of the quick draw, I'm looking for so-and-so, and the barkeep going, I don't know who that is, but if you want him, he's over there. Like that kind of, all of it. There's so much of that trope in this episode that I absolutely just really, really ate it up.
I almost expected like a tumbleweed to go rolling by and hear a little bit of
that Star Wars
that little
style.
Good, Bad, and the Ugly whistle going on.
Dun, dun, dun.
Something like that.
So one of the biggest moments in this episode is when the marshal showed up, when Cobb showed up, and he is donning the armor of the one and only Boba Fett. Immediately, we kind of both went, Boba Fett? Wait, but already you knew that the body type was not correct.
And I'm really glad that they did that. They made it very obvious that you're like, that's Boba Fett's armor, but that is not
Boba Fett who was wearing it. Nope.
Well, and the fact that they even had the dink in the helmet, they wanted you 100% to make sure that you knew that this was his armor.
Yes.
The coloring was there, but it was worn. And that was something
damaged.
that I really liked, is the fact that they shown that this armor has been on a journey. And I am just really, really curious. I am dying to hear that journey, because we heard just a little bit of it. From Cobb's story, when he was, when they're speeding through the desert, and like,
exposition
exposition time. But I'm going to do it in a gravelly voice that is very Western, and it will fit and be very appropriate and very intriguing.
Can we also talk about how Cobb's hairstyle very closely resembles to what I think is of Deathstroke?
Yes. I think
with the gray white, I was like, wait, I feel like I'm seeing double here. And I know it's not the same actor, but...
Probably could pull off a really good Deathstroke. But the fact that you hear, like, right in the middle when they're, like, about ready to, like, draw kind of a moment... Earth starts shaking, and I just loved that one moment where the Cobb just kind of like tilts his head and was like, "Give me a second, I'll be right back."
Let's pause on this. Hold on, honor system here.
I've got something bigger and pressing, and yeah, that huge. At first, I was like, "Oh, they're gonna bring in a Sarlacc. They're gonna show us what it looks like, what a Sarlacc looks like if it's actually moving through the dirt," and it wasn't.
It wasn't a Sarlacc, but that was because. With all the connection, like tattooing, Boba Fett, and all this and that, so we were thinking obviously Sarlacc, which would be a nice kind of throwback, a little bit of fan service as well. But it was not. It was a krayt dragon, something that resembled, I would say, like moves and has a lot of the characteristics like a tremor, like one of those, but also reminds me of
graboids.
It also reminds me of Dune's sandworm.
Yes, it was like a good little combination, but then you kind of combined it with like the head of a dragon at the top part. Ooh. And you got to see like one little beady eye, and I was like, this is a cool addition to like these Star Wars creatures that they have. But the fact that this monster comes rolling through, and then he's like, I'll make you a deal, Mandalorian. I will give you this armor if you help us kill this thing.
So what do? They reach out for a little bit of help, and they travel. And this is very like Western / Star Wars, where they're just like speed biking through. And I was like, this is so. And then the side swipe, I was like, yes,
when they're Star Wars transition. When they're riding on the horses, kind of a thing, and they're just talking back and forth, but on speeder bikes.
So they get to the Tusken Raiders, which I actually enjoyed. A lot of this episode was spoken in Tusken,
yes,
if you will, which I loved.
And I love the fact that how they put sign language or a form of sign language.
Just like this, kill it.
Into their language. I love that they made it a lot more physical and a lot more. I just loved the extra layer of depth that they put into just communicating with the Tuskens.
Yeah, so it makes the viewers feel even more immersed into the Star Wars world. Ooh, say that 10 times fast. So they come to an agreement with the Tusken Raiders that, if we get the village in to help, we lure out this big bad krayt dragon, kill it, we'll let the Tuskens have the remains of the dragon. They will leave the village alone as long as the village leaves them alone. So whoever is the first to break the peace, obviously, the agreement's off. So
yeah,
we hope that. I have a feeling this will not be the last time we see Cobb. Or
I hope not. He's a
cool.
really good character.
He's really cool.
I really want to see his character again.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be the last time we see him. If so in this season, then I feel like we will revisit his character in season 3 probably. But I love the bit of teamwork where you're just like, well, this thing is huge and hard. And those poor banthas being sacrificed. Also the poor Tuskens.
Yeah.
A few of them just.
A few of the Tuskens got eaten up by that thing too.
Dang,
but yeah, I mean, I also loved, because they had a little bit of tension between the townsfolk and the Tuskens, but they were still working together. So during this entire combat scene where they're trying to attack and lure out the dragon is the fact that you're like, okay, is someone going to try to make a move to be like, I could possibly get rid of 2 enemies here.
I was kind of worried that they would do that. I was hoping that they wouldn't do that.
I'm glad they did.
That through this way, that they, in order to, I was hoping that the marshal would understand that, yes, they were trouble, but the whole reason why you're working together and you have this agreement so you don't break it is that we will live as we do. You live your life, we live our life, we won't talk to each other. And that is essentially what he wants for the town to be safe.
Yeah.
So.
And he looks like one of those guys who's very rough and tumble, and had to do make some rough choices in his life. Mm-hmm. But yet, deep down inside, he cares about his town. He cares about his people.
Yes.
He wants to be that leader, and it seems like he's good at it.
Yeah.
So I really loved the depth of this story, and I loved just the incredible ooziness of the Western
Oh, yeah.
that it was. It just did it
yeah.
so well. Some of these tropes, and it was just great to see them in a Star Wars setting. But the biggest, oh my God moment.
Let's talk about it.
Was at the very end. They usually always do this. They have that one clip at the very end. It's almost like an end credit scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see Mando ride off into the sunset
with the child
and
with Boba Fett's armor,
and you get this awesome shot of the desert and those orange and like
the
yellow tones, the twin suns, and then you pass over a little mountain, and on top of the mountain you see a figure.
A figure. Who is it? We kind of had a feeling because at first when they said, when Cobb said, I bought this off of, or I got this off of the Jawas, so we thought, okay, then definitely Boba Fett is dead, and then the whole rumor of a Boba Fett is appearing is more of like Boba Fett's armor is appearing.
Yeah.
Boy, we are so happy to be wrong because we get to see, of course, Temuera Morrison showing up. He's got like all the Tusken Raider gear. I wonder if he had been living as a Tusken Raider with the, on, because
maybe
that's a way to hide your identity, but this will not be the last time we see him.
Oh, we better not. They better not just do this tease. But
what if they do, though?
I am really curious to find out. Seeing how Boba Fett is alive, I'm wondering what has happened. I'm sure everyone's is between the time that he was inside the Sarlacc and him getting out and him losing his armor.
Yes.
What is the sequence of events that made that happen?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to find out what has he been doing since he lost his armor. So I'm super excited to learn more about this.
This is a great season. Sorry, this is a great episode to kickstart the new season. Also love the little fan service moments where Mando was like, "Hey, I got the detonator, all right," and then kind of does the thing to Cobb's rocket, causes him to fly. I was like, well, that's a nice little throwback.
That was cool. Yeah,
little things like that.
When he busted the back of the jetpack, and he goes flying out just like he did because it's also the same backpack, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
That that Han Solo hit on the back of Boba Fett's jetpack.
Yeah.
It goes crashing in there.
Love this episode. Really sets a tone for the rest of the season to come. And I like that they didn't really need to rush to let's hurry up and get to the origin of the child and let's get, because this is essentially an adventure.
Yes.
So I like the world building, getting to see different characters from canon that are showing up in this story, from the original movies that are showing up in this series. Sorry, I said movie. So really, really great start. Very excited for episode 2. So that is it. That is essentially our spoiler review for episode 1 of season 2 of The Mandalorian, The Marshal. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comment section below. Any Easter eggs that you saw that we didn't talk about. We actually didn't talk about most of them, but
yeah, there's still a ton of Easter eggs out there.
So comment below and let us know what you thought and everything, and how many Baby Yoda paraphernalias do you already have, and will you be adding more? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Come on back to this channel because we will be doing the spoiler review for The Mandalorian throughout the entire season, and we will see you next time. Bye!